Hey, youth pastors, Paul Turner here from the discipleproject.net and the host of Office Hours right here on YouTube, where I answer youth pastor questions every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I want to talk to you today about something really important. I want to ask you a few questions. Are you always tired? Do you feel desperately alone in youth ministry? And do you feel like quitting a whole lot? You may be dealing with ministry burnout. And in today's video, I share a clip from the live show where I share 3 things every youth pastor must do if they want to beat ministry burnout. And believe it or not, it's not about praying more or reading your Bible more. So stick around to the end where I'll share a resource that can help alleviate some of the pressures of ministry, as well as help you develop practices that will beat burnout. So let's jump into the video and talk about this really important subject. Question number 2, how do you avoid youth ministry burnout? Boy, I don't know. I say this with all seriousness. I don't know if you can completely avoid youth. Now, can you avoid detrimental burnout? I think yes, you can. But I think there's always the fringes of it that cling to our, skin sometimes, because, first of all, I think you have to decide what burnout isn't just being tired. Burnout isn't just having a bad day. Burnout isn't, just not feeling it today. Burnout is a lot of things. Burnout is a total lack of inspiration, a total lack of, I don't want to do this anymore. You're looking at other options. You're updating your resume. You don't want to show up for youth. You don't want to go to church. There's a lot of things to that. So can you avoid that whole thing? You can. So how do you do that? Well, I think you start with recognizing the rhythms of your life. You start recognizing your rhythms. You know where you are too busy. You know where you're doing too much. And I think you have to start with saying no more often. You say no. Because if you're the type of person who is adding things to their plate all the time, for whatever reason, sometimes you do it because your boss tells you to. Sometimes you do it because you want to feel validated. Sometimes you do it because you're a good person and you want to serve. But sometimes you just have to say no. That I can't do that. And if you know the rhythms of your life, and you know that if you take on too much, eventually it's going to just descend. You're eventually going to feel like you can't do anymore, and then eventually you don't want to do anything. And so if you want to avoid youth ministry burnout, I think you have to start with saying no. Saying no to all these other assignments, saying no to a lot of other things. You have to put order to your life. You have to be able to put your personal time with the Lord first. Of course, this is to assume that you are praying. This is to assume that you are worshiping. If you're doing too much and your pastor is putting too much on you, then that becomes a conversation you need to have. Say, look, this is too much for me. I can't do that. You say, but Paul, that's my job. I have to do that. Well, then you're eventually going to say, I'm going to need another job. So deal with it up front. Be honest with it up front and say, I have to be aware of this. I have to be aware when I start to smell smoke, fire is not far behind. So you know your life. And when you go, hey, what does that smell? Oh, that's burnout. I need to back away. I need to say I'm going down a wrong hole here. I'm going down a different direction that I really don't want to go. And I would say that you have to have a life outside the church. A lot of times burnout happens because all you know is youth ministry. All you know is Wednesday to Wednesday, Sunday to Sunday. And if you have a family, you're at home and you start thinking, is this all there is? Is this all there is to my life? It's just work and go home? And it's no different from any other profession. But I can tell you this, that in the church is a different kind of environment where you're not always going to go out to eat with people, or you're not always going to have strong, tight friendships as a staff member. And this is very common. You're not going to have those strong, tight because of the dynamics that you're working in. And that is when loneliness sets in. That's where you start feeling like you are out there somewhere. It feels like you are alone. And then you're just working harder. Then you're throwing yourself into more work to somehow either validate your life or your calling or those things. And so you have to find a life outside. You need to get a hobby. You need to do something. Start a YouTube channel. Start a podcast. Travel more. Take your days off is another thing. If you have days off, don't go to the office. Don't work on anything youth ministry related. Don't work on anything ministry related. Go do something else. Do the things you love. I love to go to the movies, so I'm going to go hide out at the movies. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go hide out at the movies, and I am going to stay there all day. Maybe I'll do a double feature. Maybe I'll do a triple feature, depending how I'm feeling. But I'm going to go and just say, hey, I got to go do some other things. I have some other hobbies. I have some other things to divert my attention away from the thing that is burning me out. And so that is what I would say. I would say, number one, know the rhythms of your life. Stay away from things that bog you down. Number two, say no more often. Say no to things. Get some stuff off your plate. Delegate to people, or just say no, or just recommend that for somebody else. Don't fill up on all these things thinking you have unlimited energy. You don't. And then the third thing is have a life outside the church. Have a life outside the church. Because if you don't, you're going to find yourself not just with smoke, but with fire. And it's just not going to be pretty. Well, youth pastors, I hope that you found that of value. And I hope, for the sake of this video, that you're not going through a severe ministry burnout. I hope that you're not constantly thinking about quitting and some of the other things that I talked about in the video. But if you are, reach out to people around you and let them know what you're going through. Call somebody, call a friend, call another youth pastor out of state. Let them know what's going on inside so you don't have to struggle with this by yourself. And you're welcome to leave some comments down below. Let me know. Answer some of the questions that I asked at the beginning of this video. Are you always tired? Do you feel really alone in ministry? And do you always feel like quitting? Let me know down in the comments which of those you're dealing with right now, or maybe all three. Let me know what's happening, and maybe I can help. I know one way that I can for sure help, and that is if you're interested in youth ministry coaching. If you're interested in coaching, I don't just talk about X's and O's. X's and O's is strategy and all those things about developing a successful youth ministry. But I care about you, the pastor, more than I care about you, the ministry. And so when we have conversations twice a month for 90 minutes, listen, we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about family, and we're going to talk about how our heart is doing. We're going to talk about our relationship with God. And having that one person that you can talk with, you know that you're going to talk with every month, always helps us alleviate some of that pressure, because we know that we have somebody that we can talk to, somebody that's going to keep a confidence, somebody who's going to be there in our corner, and somebody that we know that we can share our hearts with. So if this sounds of interest to you and you're interested in coaching, well, go ahead, leave me a comment down below, message me. There's a link down below to let you know where you can find some of the coaching that I offer. And if it is of interest to you, then let me know. Let me know what I can do for you and how I can help you. But that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for being here today. Once again, I hope that you're doing well. I hope that your heart is good. I hope things are good in your ministry. And listen, if you need more advice, hey, listen, there's a whole bunch of videos right over here. All kinds of youth ministry advice I offer. Check out some more videos. See if I can help you build a successful youth ministry. That's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Be sure to click the thumbs up button. It tells me you like the video and you want more of them. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.